Okay, awesome. Okay, hi guys again. So I work at Sago Mini, more specifically at the Sago Mini school team, as a user experience designer. And what that means is that I get to design experiences for both little kids who use our apps and also their parents who are the ones who download it from the App Store and do the setup for them. And I love thinking of ways to bring together those two different age groups and making their experience with our product better and better. And that usually involves looking into the navigation and menus in the app, making flows, sometimes reaching out to parents with service, but mostly thinking on how to incorporate new features into our app. I am originally from Brazil, and that is one of the countries that I lived in. And as a young kid, I loved to create paper furniture for my Barbie dolls more than I enjoyed actually playing with them. And when it came the time to decide what to do for my undergraduate degree, I was torn between architecture and industrial design because I wanted to use my creativity and take my ideas out of the paper. So I took a closer look at each program coursework to make an informed decision. And I ended up studying the industrial design because it was more flexible and I had many interests at the time. Um, and I have to say also that the web was very ugly back then. So when I was at college, I wasn't very attracted to it. So just between us, I'm actually what they call a late adopter of technology, but don't tell anyone because I'm going to deny it. And after I graduated, the iPhone was invented. And a couple of years later, I had the opportunity to live abroad in Paris. That's where my French comes from. It's kind of rusty, but I'll try my best here for you. And it was then when I experienced how technology could make people's lives better, in particular at the transportation system. There was this neat app that would allow people to plan their commute around the city. And coming from Brazil, I was really blown away with such a simple solution that made a huge difference on how I could experience navigating through a foreign city. And I loved it. And I decided that I wanted to use my design skills to improve people's lives using technology. And after that, I found an interaction design summer course in Copenhagen that got me started thinking and designing technology. And it was kind of close from Paris where I was. So I took the chance. And after a couple of years, I got really into it and I decided to go deep. And I got a scholarship to do a PhD in human computer interaction in the United States. I found a great mentor there and I did research with preschool kids for 5 years in the computer science department. And during that time, I designed a web app, a voice agent. I got some ideas for Internet of Things, and all of that was by working closely together with the kids and actually involving them into the design process. It was very challenging, and I had to learn some programming languages. But I got to use my design strengths in my team, where I collaborated with developers who had different skill sets. So I was the only woman and trained designer in my research group, but that changed over time as more ladies joined my graduate program. It was a very awesome experience that ultimately brought me here, where I keep working with this age group in a company that shares my values. So my journey into Sago Mini was not a linear one, and I found out that is commonly the case with women in tech. So while I was in grad school, I attended some conferences that look pretty much like this one, that were targeting women in STEM areas. And I believe it was Melinda Gates who mentioned that at the Grace Hopper celebration. And it resonated with me because I never thought I would be doing a PhD in the computer science department, but there I was. And so my biggest advice for you will be to follow your interests, no matter how seemingly disconnected they are at first. Just keep pushing, keep moving forward, because one day you will will be able to bring all of the skills you learn together in your own unique way that fulfills all your passions. And that was definitely the case for me. So I'm going to try to do this in French now. Please bear with me. Je m'appelle Luiza et je travaille à la Sago en tant que conceptrice de l'expérience client. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici pour vous parler aujourd'hui. Chez Sago je conçois des expériences à la fois pour les petits enfants qui utilisent notre application et pour leurs parents qui la téléchargent à partir de l'App Store et la configurent pour eux. J'aime penser à des moyens de réunir ces deux groupes d'âge différents et perfectionner leur expérience avec notre produit. Je suis originaire du Brésil et quand j'étais jeune, j'adorais créer des meubles en papier pour mes poupées Barbie parce que j'aimais jouer avec elles. Quand était venu le temps de décider quel programme choisir pour mes études de premier cycle, j'avais de la difficulté à choisir entre l'architecture et le dessin industriel parce que je voulais utiliser ma créativité et sortir mes idées sur papier en même temps. J'ai donc examiné chaque étude de deux programmes pour prendre une décision et j'ai fini par étudier le design industriel car ce dernier était plus flexible et j'avais de nombreux intérêts à l'époque, tels que la mode, les dessins éditoriaux et le branding. Je dois dire que le web était à peine développé à l'époque, donc je n'étais pas très attirée par ce champ d'études. Je suis un adoptant tardif de la technologie. Et toutefois, après avoir obtenu mon diplôme, l'iPhone a été inventé. Quelques années plus tard, j'ai eu l'opportunité de vivre à l'étranger à Paris. C'est à ce moment-là que j'ai découvert comment... Oh mon Dieu! I think, yeah. Oh no. Maybe questions?
Some student wanted to know, which has nothing to do with technology, but wanted to know what 5 countries you lived in.
Okay, so Brazil, France, United States, Canada, and Denmark.
Nice. Yeah, it's like speed dating. So I'm gonna have to go faster.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, maybe I could try to make the French smaller. I don't know.
Yeah, we can do maybe just the
first part.
The first part, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any dogs. No, I have a 5-year-old son, and that's enough for me right now. I wish I did.
Luiza, I do have a question that maybe will be, oh no, it's too late. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back. I see some familiar names already. You came back to this room. That's great. Luiza, you are on mute, but once you're ready, you can start. We'll just jump in and I will be watching the chat too for questions.
Okay, I'm gonna try to cut the French a bit short to leave more room for questions. Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for being here with me. I'm Luiza and I work at Sago Mini, more specifically at the Sago Mini School team as a user experience designer. And I'm very excited to be here. And at Sago Mini, I design experiences for both little kids who use our apps and also their parents who are the ones who find it, download it from the App Store and do the setup for them. And I love thinking of ways to bring together these two different age groups and making both their experiences with our products better and better. And that involves looking into the navigation and menus in the app, making flows, sometimes reaching out to parents with surveys, but mostly thinking on how to incorporate new features into our app to make it better and better. I'm going to switch to French quickly and then circle back in English to see if I can make more time for questions. Je m'appelle Luiza. Je travaille à la Sago Mini en tant que conceptrice de l'expérience client. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici pour vous parler aujourd'hui. Chez Sago Mini, je conçois des expériences à la fois pour les petits enfants qui utilisent notre application et pour les parents qui la télécharger en partie de l'App Store et la configurer pour eux. J'en pensais à des moyens de réunir ces deux groupes d'âge différents, perfectionner leur expérience avec notre produit. I am originally from Brazil, and as a young kid, I love to create paper furniture for my Barbie dolls, much more than I enjoyed actually playing with them. And when it came the time to decide what to do for my undergraduate degree, I was very torn between architecture and industrial design because they both seem like a good way to express my creativity and take my ideas out of the paper. So I took a look at each program coursework to make an informed decision. And I ended up studying industrial design because it was more flexible. And at the time I had many interests, such as fashion, editorial design, branding. And also the web was very ugly back then. We didn't have all this, cool Google fonts that we have nowadays. And I wasn't very attracted to it. So I am actually what they call a late adopter of technology, but don't tell anyone. After I graduated, the iPhone was invented. And then a couple of years later, I had the opportunity to live abroad in Paris. And both of those experiences changed my life. It was then when I experienced myself how technology could make people's lives better. In particular at the transportation system. There was this very cool app that would allow people to plan their commute around the city very accurately. And coming from Brazil, I was blown away with such a simple solution that made a huge difference on how I could experience navigating through a foreign city. I really loved it, and I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to use my design skills to improve people's lives with technology. And I started to look for courses to get deep into that. And I found an interaction design summer course in Copenhagen that got me started thinking and designing technology. And it was also close to where I lived at the time. And after a couple of years, I really enjoyed the course, by the way. But after a couple of years, I wanted more. So I got a scholarship to do a PhD in human-computer interaction in the United States. And there I found a great mentor, and I did research with preschool kids for 5 years in the computer science department. And during that time, I designed a web app, a voice agent, and I got some very cool ideas for Internet of Things by working together with the kids. It was very challenging, but I learned a lot by collaborating with developers and also using both all the skills that I've built over time in a project. And I was the only woman and trained designer in my research group, but that changed over time. And it was an awesome experience that ultimately brought me here. Okay, maybe I should open up for questions now.
We have a question about what's a UX designer?
Oh, a UX designer. Yeah, so I was originally trained as a graphic designer. And a UX designer is someone who has to go a bit deeper and think about how an app, how a user is going to experience an app, for example. So the moment parents download my app from the App Store, when they click on it, what do they see? How do we explain to them what our product is about? Also, how the kids see our menus, how they navigate through the app. So it's a bit more conceptual than a graphic designer who makes, the graphics and the visuals. The UX designer also thinks about that, but I have to keep thinking of the bigger picture and how our users are going to have a good experience when they decide to download and buy our subscription app. Is that clear?
Yes. Yeah. I have another question I want to ask you. It's how do you come up with your design and your ideas? What inspires you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So I really like art. That was one of the best parts of living in Paris because I got to visit all the museums. So definitely art is a big inspiration for me. And I usually come up with ideas by sketching. So I sketch a lot. I take notes. I have always like a notebook nearby. I'm always taking notes and combining everything that I absorb together. And for my designs, I sketch a lot, different ideas, different alternatives. And once I'm happy with a couple of them, I then translate those ideas to the computer. And at Sago Mini, we have many amazing, talented people. So we get to get feedback from different areas. So I usually go for like 3 concepts, and then I start pulling people in to see what they think about my concepts. And then, yeah, it's kind of a long process, but at the time, we can find, the best solution if we have enough set of eyes. So yeah, it's usually very collaborative, which I really love.
It's very interesting. The process, you would think that I didn't even think of you showing your samples and working from there, right? From people's opinion and ideas as well. I have another great question in the chat. What advice do you have for girls who girls who would love to have a successful career in tech, but are worried about failure?
Oh, don't worry about failure. Just go for it. Take it from me. I went from the design school to the computer science department. I had to relearn math after many, many years. That was very intimidating. But when I got there, I realized that all the pieces that I've learned throughout my journey were coming together. So my advice is actually, keep pushing. If you're interested in things that don't make sense right now, just keep following your interests and go for it. Believe in yourself that one day you're gonna figure out, how to put all those pieces together in a way that makes sense to you, that makes you feel happy and hopefully find a job that you're passionate about. But yeah, I hope that's a good advice. That worked for me.
Great advice. And our time is up. So what I will do is encourage girls to go back to the main room, and we will catch up right there.
Thank you. Merci.
Thank you. Great question.
Bye. It's too long. I practiced. I thought it was gonna work 6 minutes, but
I know it goes really quick. I had the feeling I should have cut a little bit more of the French, but it's a testing session.
Yeah, so messy. Oh, it's nice to practice my French again.
Yeah, you did really well. Merci, au revoir, les amis. I see Angela back.
Hi, Angela. I'll come back.
We will just give it 1 minute and then we will start. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Sago Mini, that's a company that makes apps, subscription apps for preschoolers.
I shared the website earlier, but I can add it again.
Yeah, these are some of our characters. Robin and Miso.
Did you design them? Were you part of
No,
that
no,
team?
no. Yeah, we have our own artist. He's great, Aaron, and he's the one who deals with the characters. Actually, this is Aaron's, and this is oh no, yeah, no, they're both from Aaron. But we have also Elaine. She makes some of her characters too. But yeah, they are artists.
All right, I'll let you get started, and then we please, girls, you can add your questions in the chat, and I'll be moderating.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Luiza and I work at Sago Mini. And I am at the Sago Mini school team. So it's an app that's it's educational. It provides an educational experience for preschool kids. And I am a user experience designer there. And what that means is that I design experiences for both little kids who use our app and their parents who download it from the App Store and usually are the ones who do the setup for them. And I love thinking of ways to bring together this very different age groups into our app and making both their experiences with our products better and better. And that involves looking into the navigation, the menus in the app, making flows, sometimes reaching out to parents with surveys, but mostly thinking on how to incorporate new features into our app. I'm going to quickly switch to French. Je m'appelle Luiza et je travaille à la Sago Mini en tant que conceptrice de l'expérience client. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici pour vous parler aujourd'hui. Chez Sago Mini, je conçois des expériences à la fois pour les petits enfants qui utilisent notre application et pour les parents qui la téléchargent à partir de l'App Store et la configurent pour eux. J'en pensais à des moyens de réunir ces deux groupes d'âge différents et perfectionner leur expérience avec notre produit. Excuse me. I'm originally from Brazil and I started designing paper furniture from my Barbie dolls, which I like to do more than actually playing with the dolls. But when it came to time to decide what to do for my undergraduate degree, I was very torn between architecture and industrial design because with both courses, I could use my creativity to take my ideas out of the paper. And to make a decision, I looked at each program coursework and I ended up studying industrial design because it was more flexible. They had both graphic design and product design. And I was interested in fashion. I was interested in editorial design, also branding. And I have to say that the web was very ugly back then. And I wasn't very attracted to it. I became more interested in technology later on. And that was actually after I graduated. The iPhone was invented. And then a couple of years later, I had the opportunity to live abroad in Paris. And it was there that I experienced myself how technology could make people's lives better, in particular at the transportation system. There was a very nice app that would allow people to plan their commute around the city very accurately. And coming from Brazil, I was really blown away with such a simple solution that took the stress out of my commuting experience and made navigating through the city very easy for me. I loved it, and I decided that I wanted to use my design skills to improve people's lives with technology. So after that, I took a summer course in interaction design in Copenhagen. And a couple of years later, I wanted to study more, and I got a scholarship to do a PhD in human-computer interaction in the United States. And I found a great mentor, and I did research with preschool kids for 5 years in the computer science department. And it was very challenging. A PhD is a very hard experience. It's not for everyone. But I got to learn a lot, and especially about how to use my design skills within a different context within the computer science department. I was the only woman and trained designer in my research group. And it was a very awesome experience that ultimately brought me here, where I keep working with this age group in a company that shares my values. And I wanted to share with you that my journey was not linear at all. Um, and I actually learned in a conference for women in tech that that's usually the case with women. We don't have a linear path into technology. So my advice for you would be to follow your interests, no matter how seemingly disconnected they are. Keep pushing, keep moving forward, because I think one day you'll likely be able to bring all of the skills you learn together in your own unique way that fulfills your passions. That was the case for me, and I hope I can answer some questions. I am a doctor, yes.
Alors, j'ai quelques questions pour toi, Luiza. Depuis combien d'années travailles-tu à Sago Mini?
Sorry?
Depuis combien d'années travailles-tu?
Depuis combien d'années? Il y a presque 2 années.
2
Presque
ans.
2 ans. 2 ans.
Et j'ai une autre question en français pour toi. Est-ce que Sago Mini accepte des stagiaires pour les aider à développer leurs compétences, leurs habiletés?
Oui, je pense que tout l'été, nous avons un programme. On a 2 stagiaires maintenant qui travaillent à mon team, à mon équipe.
Super, excellent. Très bonne question. J'ai aussi, dans une minute, how do you know what job career is good for you?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think in my experience, I tried many things that I was interested in. So I chose a program that had 2 options: product design, graphic design. I did both. And then after that, I got different jobs. I tried working on advertisement. I worked with editorial design. So I kind of tried different things until I found something that I was really passionate about, which was design and technology, and bringing those 2 things together. And that's how I became a UX designer. I think at the time when I was doing my university, that wasn't a very clear field. So it became, more important, I think, after the iPhone. So yeah, so keep trying and keep going for your interest. At one point, I think it's going to come together.
J'ai une autre question en français. Quelle est la partie préférée de votre travail?
J'adore de faire la collaboration avec de gens différents, de différents areas. Je collabore avec des
départements.
artistes, de programmeurs, de animateurs. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont de différents skill sets. J'adore collaborer avec eux.
Super. One more question. I think we have time. What are some of your favorite apps that you've created, and how has it benefited younger kids in their learning skills and mindset?
Oh my gosh. Well, Sago Mini is cool, I have to say. I really like it because it is an education app. And, with the schools closed, my son got to use it, and I've seen kids like actually learning from it. But doing research with preschoolers was very amazing. Yeah. And everything that I did during my PhD I'm very proud of.
There's a lot of so cool. Thank you so much. Yes, a lot of positive and well, everything was very positive. Let me see. Wow, so incredible and impressive.
I
love your French.
Merci. How did you know that this job you have now is a great way to move forward with my career? Oh, that was tough. I had to choose. I applied to many different jobs. So I tried to do the same approach with.
As-tu pris le temps de boire de l'eau?
Oh, hello, Angela.
Bonjour. Welcome, everyone. We will start in 1 minute. I'm just letting people in. Last time we had over 40 participants in our room, Luiza, our last breakout room. So we'll see how many. Yeah. Bonjour, Alicia. Bonjour, Piper.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, Christelle. Alors, je crois qu'on peut commencer. We can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello. I'm Luiza, and I work at Sago Mini, more specifically at Sago Mini's School team as a user experience designer. And I'm very excited to be here. I design experiences for both little kids who use our app and their parents who download it from the App Store and do the setup for them. And I love thinking of ways to bring together these two different age groups and making their experience of a product better and better. And that involves looking into the navigation and menus in the app, making flows, sometimes reaching out to parents, but mostly thinking on how to incorporate new features into our app. Je m'appelle Luiza. Je travaille à Sago Mini en tant que conceptrice de l'expérience client. Je suis très heureuse d'être ici pour vous parler aujourd'hui. Chez Sago Mini, je conçois des expériences à la fois pour les petits enfants qui utilisent notre application et pour leurs parents qui la téléchargent à partir de l'App Store et la configurent pour eux. J'aime penser à des moyens de réunir ces deux groupes d'âge différents et perfectionner leur expérience avec notre produit. I am originally from Brazil, and as a young kid, I used to make lots of paper furnitures for my Barbie dolls. And I had more fun doing that than playing with them. So I had to choose, when I had to choose what to do for my undergraduate degree, I was torn between architecture and industrial design. And so I basically did a pros and cons list for all the coursework for each program to make an informed decision. And I found out that industrial design suited my needs better because it was more flexible. And at the time, I was interested in many things, such as fashion, editorial design, and branding. And also the web was not very good looking at the time. So I wasn't very attracted to it during my undergraduate. I'm actually a late adopter of technology. But after I graduated, the iPhone was invented. And a couple of years later, I had the opportunity to live abroad in Paris. And it was when I experienced how technology could make people's lives better, in particular at the transportation system. I got to use that app to plan my commutes throughout the city. And it was very easy to use, very accurate. And coming from Brazil, I was really blown away with such a simple solution that made a big difference on how I was experienced navigating through a foreign city. And I loved it, and I decided that I wanted to use my design skills to improve people's lives with technology. So I found a summer course in interaction design in Copenhagen. And then later on, I got a scholarship to do a PhD in human-computer interaction in the United States. I worked with a great mentor, and I did research with preschool kids for 5 years in the computer science department. And during that time, I designed a web app, a voice agent, and I got some ideas for designing Internet of Things, and all of that by working together with the kids and getting ideas from them. And it was very challenging because I had to learn some programming languages. I had to relearn math that was long forgotten for me. but I got to use my design strengths and collaborate with developers who had different skill sets. It was a very awesome experience that ultimately brought me here. And at Sago Mini, I keep working with this age group in a company that shares my values. So I just wanted to share with you that my journey into Sago Mini was not linear. I found out that that is usually the case with women in tech. And I hope this resonates with you. Because I never thought that I was going to be doing a PhD in computer science department, but there I was. And my biggest advice for you would be to follow your interests, no matter how seemingly disconnected they are. Just keep pushing and keep moving forward, and collaborating with people if you get the chance, and learning from all your experiences too, even if they are not so good, because one day you're gonna be able to bring all of the skills you learn together in your own unique, special way that fulfills your passions. And that was the case for me. And I hope I can answer some questions. Le codage difficile. Oh, ça a été difficile pour moi parce que mon background, c'était en design. Donc, j'ai appris la mathématique. Oui, ça c'était difficile, mais I pushed through. And I did it. You can do it too.
What surprised you the most in the tech industry?
So I attended many conferences when I was in grad school that were targeted at women in tech. The biggest one was the Grace Hopper celebration. It happens every year in the US. And I heard many terrible stories of women in tech and how hard it was to work with a mostly male dominated field. And I guess what was most surprising to me was that I never had a bad experience, actually. So I think I'm very lucky because I was expecting, this very bad thing to happen anytime, but it didn't. It was kind of lonely in grad school because there wasn't many women there with me, and not many women, especially Latino women. But yeah, but I didn't have any terrible experiences. I got to meet and collaborate with everyone that passed through my journey, I guess. And that was surprising.
Yeah, that's good to share. I did see a question earlier about what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, my younger self. Oh, that's a great question, but also a hard one. I guess it would be to not stress out so much because I had all these many interests and I was always worried, like, oh, am I gonna be good at this? Am I gonna be good at that? But I just kept going, and when I found something that really sparked my interest, it was when it all came together for me. So yeah, so don't stress out, believe in yourself for sure, and just keep going. One day it's gonna make sense. I promise.
I love that. Yes, worry less and keep going. What is your favorite coding language?
Oh, my favorite well, I have to say Python because it's easy to learn. And there's room for not being super critical with the commas and everything, so it's kind of a flexible one. Python, I've been doing some C#, like very lately at my work because we work with Unity, and I do need to work with that a little bit. And I'll be interested to learn more about C# too.
Good.
La
Okay.
femme, elle est difficile de se prouver dans le monde du tech. Oh, je pense que si. Mais oui, mais on doit I'm gonna answer in English. I think that's gonna be faster. Yeah, so I think it's hard, but you know, we have to keep pushing and trusting ourselves that you know we know what we're doing, and yeah, and all of the skills that we have, even if they are considered soft skills, they are sometimes more important than the hard skills, I would say. Because yeah, my current job, collaboration is a big one, and that might be very hard for some guys to do it. I think we have more advantage on collaborating than most of the guys, I would say. That's my personal opinion.